he was unjustly taken for speaking out for Palestinian freedom. Mahmoud Khalil was the first in a string of detentions by the Trump administration. The judge in this case just a few hours ago during the bail hearing called it highly, highly unusual.
We've got another huge win for democracy as a judge has now officially ordered the release of Mahmoud Khalil on bail for the second time. Trump appealed the first. That's now falling apart. And I believe by the time this is released, he would have been released from jail. But I do want to jump into a CNN segment, breaking this down, all the steps, where we're at now and what we might have missed, just to further dive into how horrendously unconstitutional and immoral this detainment and attempted deportation was. So leave us a like on the video if you can. It helps us out a ton. We really appreciate it. It gives us a big boost in the algorithm. And let's jump right into the very much needed context.
The judge in this case just a few hours ago during the bail hearing called it highly, highly unusual to continue to detain a legal permanent of the United States who his lawyers have argued is not a danger to the community and was unlikely to flee. In fact, today, Judge Michael Farbiars said that, quote, it is that Khalil, quote, is not a danger to the community, period, full stop. Now, let's step back a moment, Phil, because Mahmoud Khalil was the first in a string of detentions by the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, which targeted pro-Palestinian protesters on U.S. university campuses.
Which, again here, because it's been a while, let's point out the facts. Mahmoud Khalil, never charged with any crime, never accused of any formal crime, was a legal green card holder, yet was detained for his beliefs. A direct violation of his First Amendment rights, where he was then held for 3 months, where he missed his graduation, missed the birth of his child, the first month or so of its existence, and more, all for utilizing a constitutionally protected First Amendment right. And if you don't realize that this is the start of that slippery slope of it happening to us, you might be racist. I don't know. And to just preempt the salty MAGA comments, Columbia University also never found him at fault for anything. There were never any formal complaints against him at the university by students, faculty, or the university itself. So the idea that he did anything to like harass Jewish students or promote anti-Semitism on campus, it's absolutely not founded on any facts or evidence. It's fantasy. It's fairy tale.
2 weeks ago, the judge in this case said that he was going to order Khalil's release, but the government appealed that decision, saying that there was an outstanding charge accusing Khalil of lying on his green card application, something that his lawyers have denied. Now, his lawyers renewed their request for the court to issue bail, and that's exactly what happened here today. Khalil will be released. He said that the outstanding matter is a civil matter in immigration court, certainly not a criminal matter, and we are expecting to hear some detail about the conditions for his release, including the surrender of his passport and travel conditions.
And I want to be clear on the context here because it's important. The grave omissions that he's leaving out that they say warrant his deportation to foreign gulags are literally him not putting an internship that he did with UNRWA for a few weeks. Something minor that wouldn't even warrant deportation in a normal circumstance, mind you, where again, important to note, they never produced any evidence of him doing so. And more importantly, no evidence of him doing so willingly. But even more importantly, when they detained him, this isn't even what they were accusing him of. This isn't even what they were saying. They were saying it was like a foreign policy threat because of his beliefs and associations. All of this evidence, however, of willful intent now would be needed, even though they randomly drummed this up because they realized they were going to have to release him. Nor, like, there's just, it's months later. It's months after the fact. Seemingly, it's some sort of a ploy to just lend credibility to the fact that they scooped a legal immigrant, a green card holder, and had him lined up for deportation. People were catching on to the fact he did nothing wrong, so they're like, okay, charges. And now we can't trust the government. The big faceless bureaucrats are saying we have to trust the government on these trumped up charges that we have no evidence for, and he won't get due process on.
Here's what his wife, Dr. Noor Abdallah, said upon learning about his release, quote, "We know this ruling does not begin to address the injustices the Trump administration has brought upon our family and so many others." She also said, "Today we are celebrating Mahmoud coming back to New York to be reunited with our little family and the community that has supported us since that day. He was unjustly taken for speaking out for Palestinian freedom.
I mean, really, take a step back and just imagine how the family feels when Mahmoud was unable to see the birth of his child for no other reason than blatant racism and blind faith to Israel. Imagine how the family felt, right? From the party of family values, mind you, are the ones who did this. But it's truly sickening, all to just quell dissent and the outcries of a very real genocide that's happening in Gaza, because you don't really care about the brown people. And Trump would rather pander to the politics of a fake, made-up white genocide in South Africa. So he can, of course, further dog whistle to his racist base, which it's what this administration is largely becoming more and more about. But I am glad to see Mahmoud walking free. Again, big win for democracy, big win for his family, always a good thing. I hope that he continues his activism. I would understand if this scared him off, but we need voices like his. And I do think this now marks like the 50th court loss for the Trump administration and their unconstitutional conquest that I guess we're calling his second term.